Okay, so we are starting. So thank you so much for having this holidays SEO happy hours session episode. So I think we are all entering the holiday mood. So if you're watching this, thank you so much. I'm Adriana Vojadin. I'm coach and SEO manager for SEO professionals. Actually, my purpose is helping other SEO professionals to succeed in their SEO careers and have that fulfillment in their job and life. And part of that initiative is actually SEO happy hour sessions, commonly called SEO therapy by SEO professionals, because like we are talking about these topics that are bothering us on daily basis, but it's not about technical things. So today I am very pleased to have Sonia Bermud as my guest. So she will talk about her SEO journey and how she actually moved her career from a full-time agency employer to independent SEO consultant. So feel free to ask any questions, any kind of concerns you are having here. So basically, this is for you. Sonia, welcome and take the stage.
Hey, thanks for having me. So my name is Sonia. I've been in the digital marketing space for about 12 years now. And so I was working in-house at the beginning of my career, and then I moved to working in agencies. And then 3 years ago, I decided to start my own consulting journey on my own. So I've been in very different setups. And so today we'll be talking about how I moved to being a full-time agency employee to starting my own business, having my own consulting business, and driving everything on my own.
Nice. Sorry, one thing when you started to talk about like you're having your own business, your smile has been like increasing. So my guess is actually that you are enjoying more being your own business owner and being independent SEO consultant than
Yeah.
being a full-time employee. But definitely you will tell us more about that.
Yeah, so long story short, I definitely enjoy it much. I do think it's not for everyone though. So I understand also people who are employees in agencies or in-house, whatever works for you. But I also understand the perspective of people who are happier another way. So I think it's all a matter of finding what works for you and what you're happy with. So probably I should start with the pros and cons of each in my experience. So what I liked a lot working in agencies is you can learn really fast and a lot of things because you have the opportunity to work on very different client accounts. So at the beginning of a career, it's really interesting because you can learn a lot and you can learn fast. And you also have a team of specialists around you. So no matter what your expertise, your core expertise is, I got the opportunity to learn from very different fields. So I got the opportunity to learn from CRO experts, paid media experts, a lot of different things. So I think this is a very good pro of working at an agency. So in terms of cons, I would say it's hard to feel in control of what you're doing. So agencies are very fast-paced, which is also a pro because this is how you learn a lot. But because they're very fast-paced, there are new clients coming in all the time, and you don't always have the freedom to say, I have too much, I cannot take one more client, or I'm not comfortable with this specific type of client, or, you know, this client might be a different, a difficult personality type to handle for me. It's not a good fit. So you don't have this luxury of saying no because you're an employee and, you know, it's a new client, we're getting new business, you have to deal with it. As a consultant, it's a bit the other way around. So you still get to learn a lot, but you also have the freedom to say no. And this is something that you have to learn, because in the beginning, I think when we're working for ourselves, we tend to say yes too much to everything. Every opportunity that comes your way, you just say, yes, let's do it, because I don't know what tomorrow holds, right? So you learn after some time to say no to some opportunities. And I think this is something that I was not able to do before. Maybe I could even have done it as an employee better, but it's really working independently that taught me this. So this is a big pro, in my opinion, of being in the driver's seat, basically. So when I feel like something is not going to work for me, I politely decline. And then I can move on to the next opportunity. One downside of working on your own is you're working on your own. So you don't have a team around you. So this can be a good thing as well, because then you get to learn doing a lot of things because you don't have anyone else to rely on. So this definitely helps with the learning curve, keeping learning all the time. But it can also be tough when you have no one and you feel lonely sometimes. So there are communities that you can join. They become your new work family. But it can definitely feel lonely in the beginning. So that's mainly about the pros and cons.
Yeah. What I'm seeing across all SEO professionals that would like to enroll more independent SEO consultant role is that they are having a problem with security, because having a full time is definitely more secure, and salary that is coming like on monthly or weekly basis, then being your own boss, looking for a new clients, and then having that the kind of like uncertainty, like, will you be able to continue with this client? So did you have this issue with security, and how you did overcome it?
Yeah, so of course I had it in the beginning, especially when you've always been an employee. Even when you start freelancing, you always think as an opportunity, as a salary. How secure is it? How long is it going to last? And you really have to get out of this mindset, because it's completely different. You're not going to have consistent income, especially not at the beginning. So you just have to understand that sometime you'll have more opportunities and sometime you'll have fewer opportunities, and then you can have enough cash in advance so that you're able to handle those tougher times. So I think it's a change of mindset, but for sure in the beginning it's terrifying. And the way I handle it, so I try to be very rational. Whenever I feel emotional about something, I try to be very rational. So what I did is I just did the math. So I was like, okay, so I don't feel comfortable just quitting my job and start freelancing right away. So what I'll do is I'll keep working at my full-time day job. And then during the evenings and on weekends, I'll take on some contracts just to have a feel about it. How does it go? How long do clients stay with me? Are they happy? What type of clients can I get? And so I did this for quite a long time. Initially, I thought, okay, it will last maybe 1 year, maybe more. And I ended up leaving my job after 6 months, I think, or so. So you really build your confidence. You just have to do the math of how many clients do you need to get to have, let's say, the equivalent of your income. So this is the choice I made. Obviously, I worked more because I had basically 2 jobs, but it helped me feel more secure in my decision after spending 6 months having clients on the side, realizing they were very happy with my work. I could get more. They would refer me. I was able to have a stable income, so this helped. And another thing I realized as well is stability and security in full-time jobs is an illusion. And at that time, there were a lot of people laid off. And that made me realize, okay, but if my job is not secure, then why not try something else? Because I don't even have security anymore. So yeah, this is how I overcame it.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying to my clients, because in our mind, has been like from generation, our parents have been enrolled their companies and they have been like in the one company like since day one until like the last day, and when they enter like retirement. So across the culture, there is a mindset that like full-time job is secure just because of the past patterns that has been. So just like in the first glance, we are thinking full-time is secure because like, yeah, my parents, like they were working in the same company like for the 30 years. But definitely the last 2 to 3 years has been like perfect example that your full-time job is not secure, but definitely being independent SEO consultant require a lot of additional skills that you need to work on, and that they are that definitely they are out of your comfort zone, at least like for first few months. And that is kind of like a little even excuse like why people are so afraid to reshift their focus, reshift their mindset, saying like, yeah, maybe just like me being independent SEO consultant is actually more secure than just like being a full-time employee for the current company. So what are the additional skills that you need to acquired during this transition period to actually be successful in that SEO consultant role?
Yeah, so there's a very boring aspect to it, which is how to run a business, because you have to file your taxes differently. You have to decide a structure for your business. So all the admin part, I know a lot of people are scared about it, but I would say just do baby steps. Take it one day at a time. And it's been 3 years now, and I think I was comfortable with the taxes and my business structure after maybe 1.5 years, 2 years. So it definitely takes a lot of time. So be forgiving with yourself. You're going to get there, but just take baby steps towards this, and then you'll be fine. So this is the first thing you have to develop as a skill set. And then I think time management as well, because I remember when I was working at an agency, all I had to do, and it's quote unquote, all I had to do was to deliver to clients. It's already a lot, but that was basically all I had to do. Deliver to clients, log my time, and that's it. But as a consultant, you'll have more to do. You'll have to do invoicing. So you have to bill your clients. You have to find your clients. You have to build relationships with other people in your industry. So that's a lot of time, and we tend to underestimate it. So this is something you have to grow as a skill as well. I had very decent time management skills, but I had to push them further to be able to manage all of this in the beginning. And last but not least, and this one is kind of obvious as well, finding new clients. So the downside when you're working at an agency is people find clients for you, so you don't have to chase them. But when you work on your own, if you don't work on getting new clients, of course you get referrals, but you get them from time to time. It's pretty unpredictable. So you also have to become a lead gen specialist. And it's really weird because that's what we do for clients, right? But when we have to do it for ourselves, we're the worst. We're really the worst. So this is something we have to learn, because we're great at doing it for clients, but when it comes to our own business, we're like, oh, okay, so maybe I should start to walk the walk as well.
Yeah. So first, before we move to finding like new clients, you mentioned a crucial thing that I really want to like highlight is actually that life work or work life balance. And like
Mhm.
and that word is just like cliche because
Yeah,
everybody is talking about that, but definitely what I would like to like express is like actually how you are staying not overwhelmed by every day, by every task, because like with this challenge a lot of SEO professionals are having even their full-time employees, where it's definitely much more easier to just like log off.
yeah,
And it's still challenging because of the other activities that you are having during the day. And definitely when you are business owner, when you are finding like new clients, when you are handling all these things, like how you overcome this challenge between uh, agency, like because you are in the agency,
Mhm.
you are consultant, you are a business owner, and definitely you need to have your life. So how you handle all these things?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I would say I've always struggled with work-life balance since I was working in agencies. In-house, it was easier for me at least. I don't know if it was because it was the beginning of my career or it's just usually maybe not as fast-paced in-house as it is while working at an agency. So I've always struggled with this, but I would say it feels different as a consultant, um, because it's your own business. So sometimes you're working, but it doesn't feel like you have to. I'm working because I have to. I'm working because that's my business and I want to improve it. So sometimes as a consultant, I work more in terms of time and hours spent, but it doesn't feel this way. And also, I have the freedom, of course, when I have meetings with clients, I have meetings with clients. I can't do something else. But sometimes I don't have any meeting, anything to deliver in the next 48 hours. So I'll just take a day off and just decide it the day before and have a spa day because I feel like it in the middle of the week. So I think it's probably the same advice for employees as well. It's also listen to yourself. Um, so I don't mind people get horrified when I tell them, oh, last Sunday I worked. They're like, oh, it's horrible. And it's because, you have your own business. Yes, but that's good because then maybe next Wednesday I'm not working. Sunday, I felt really productive. I had time for myself. My partner was busy doing something else. So this was a good day for me. So I think it changes how you approach work-life balance. And again, I'm just sharing my experience. I know also some consultants who do things very differently. For them, the weekend is the weekend. I'll never work on a weekend. Um, but for me, it's different. So yeah, it really feels different, and you feel like again you're in the driver's seat. So um, you can
Yeah.
make your own decisions.
Yeah, what I see is actually that when you are a business owner and you are leading your company, then your time management becomes energy management because
Yeah,
you work when you feel like working. And
yeah,
definitely in that moment, you will make a bigger impact than just being there from
yeah,
8 to 4. Uh, and that is something that's kind of like independent SEO consultant is more towards to lead regarding their like body energy, regarding their state of mind when they would like to work. And even they are working on Sundays, Saturdays morning, or like Sundays morning, they accomplish definitely more work than people who are
yeah,
starting their work like on Monday morning or like
yeah,
Friday. So that's also connected with a work-life balance because um, famous burnout and like when burnout is
yeah,
happening is actually when you are frustrated and stressed by all these things that you are working on. Because when you are fulfilled, even you are working like more, even you are working over the nights or like over the weekends, if that really fulfills you, then definitely you will avoid burnout. And that is the different time management, instead of just like leading your work whenever you feel that you need to work. And once you are fulfilled, definitely you will avoid all these things.
And one good thing as well is, as a consultant, you can set your own rules. So this helps as well with not burning out. So I'll give you an example. I have a lot of people I know around me who are consultants, and they're introverts. So basically for them, meetings are energy consuming a lot. I'm not an introvert, so I don't have this problem, but I know people who do. And so when they were working at agencies, they were overwhelmed because sometimes you have to jump into 5 meetings in a row. So at the end of the day, you're just burnt out just because you had to do all these meetings. As a consultant, you can set your own rules. So for instance, my rule is no meeting in the morning, because in the morning, I'm super productive. So I can work on all my projects, all my deliverables. And then in the afternoon, I have meetings, because then for me, my energy is just starting to decrease. So I just have enough to do meetings, but I can't do really deep work like in the morning. This is something I wouldn't have been able to do as an employee. I couldn't tell my boss, you know what, let's just do no meetings in the morning, right? Does that work?
Yeah, because it's working for me. So let's do it for all the clients.
So you can find what works for you. And this helps with burnout, because I think this is a misconception that burnout is coming from working long hours, which it can be. But it's also from, like you were saying, going to the office and not being productive because there's nothing to do, but you have to go there. It's also coming from not managing your time and workload according to your personality type. So for instance, introverts with 5 meetings in a row. So burnout can come from very different things than just long hours working. And as a consultant, you can manage that more easily than when you have to comply with whatever rules you have at the workplace.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And we started talking about that, but then we switched the topic, and that is about actually having and finding new clients. So what was working for you, and what would you suggest, like how to actually find new clients?
Yeah, so in the beginning, most of my clients came from referrals, which is good because usually they're very qualified, because you've been referred by someone you've worked with or worked for, so they know there's a good fit. So in the beginning, I would say most of my clients were coming from referrals. Now, I would say I have more clients coming from LinkedIn, and I haven't been this active, but I know people who are very active, who get a lot of leads from LinkedIn. But I would definitely say I've never done outbound. So for me, inbound works. So just, creating content on LinkedIn, whether it's on LinkedIn, on YouTube, participating in calls, just like this one. So this works well for me, but I know people who are doing outbound. I guess it's a matter of personality as well. You probably get more volume if you engage in outbound lead gen, but this is not something that I had to do, and that kind of fits my personality type. So I just go with what I'm more comfortable with. And one last thing that I should mention is leads also come from places you wouldn't have imagined. So I enrolled in some trainings, online trainings last year, and I got leads from there, because there was a community, and then someone posted something about an opportunity, or there were also leads who were in this community because they thought they could learn it themselves, and they realized, oh, okay, so it's a full-time job. There's no way I can handle this by myself. So they ended up looking for a service provider. And then I was there. It was a good fit. And I would never have imagined. So sometimes I feel like, and it might sound a bit naive, but just being very involved in what you do, being passionate about it, trying to learn more, engage more with people in your community who share the same expertise can bring you leads, and very qualified ones.
Yeah, because in the finding clients, there is a compound effect that is very important. Just like doing small steps on different ways, and even that will not get you direct clients in that moment, not even that week or month, but just like putting all these small things and steps, being visible in front of people, people will actually remember you, and then once they need you, they will call you back.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing about this, I think, which is important, is volume versus, I don't like to say quality, but for lack of a better word, quality in the sense of a better fit for you, because not all clients are going to be a good fit for you. So I would, if I had to choose, I would get fewer leads, but better leads for me than a lot of leads that I don't end up enjoying working with. So I think this is also why inbound strategies work well. It's because when you're, let's say, creating content about something you're passionate about and you just want to help, to just provide advice, there's a topic, but there's also your personality, your tone of voice. All of this is expressed through your content, and then you tend to attract potential clients that are more aligned with how you work, your personality. So this for me is really important. Outbound, you don't really know, right? You're reaching out to hundreds of people, and then, when you get one lead, then this is it. But it doesn't mean it's a good fit for you.
Yeah. And also here, all these people, like even like from the if they didn't even like know you, maybe you can just like collaborate, but like in the long term, if your kind of like values, the way how you are approaching things, if it's not aligned, definitely it can waste so much energy of you that like even if they are paying you more, if they are like bringing more work to you, actually that will cost you more than that you didn't have them like in the first place. So that's like definitely all people would like to have like so many clients and as much as possible, but like when you see that like, and we are witnessing to that like even in our full-time job, and like having like all these clients is actually when one client is kind of like having that toxic relationship with you, half of your day is just like spending negative thoughts around that negative energy, and then after that you're not even able to provide some value for all other clients that you are really enjoying to working with.
Absolutely. And here you go again about burnout. So it's not only working long hours, it's also working with people who you are not comfortable with for whatever reason.
Yeah. And working for any kind of reason that is not suitable for you, that is not aligning with you, doesn't matter. Like definitely we will not mention all the reasons, like, but you are in the burnout because something is off, something is wrong, something is not aligned with you. So that is a thing. You can even like work more than like 10-12 hours, but if you are really enjoying in your work, if you are passionate about all these things, you will not have problems with the burnout. So finding that kind of reason, like, and problem why you are not liking some parts of the job is crucial, because sometimes just like one manager, one team member, one client can take over all your day to just like thinking about them and like wasting all your energy. frustration and stress across all
Yeah.
these.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I'd like to mention as well is it might sound a bit like wishful thinking that, you know, you get to choose your own clients um, and it's true in the beginning, you won't have the choice, not all of the time. But this is something that I think you have to keep in mind for the long run, because you definitely get there. It's just something you build. So whenever you feel down in the beginning, because I had this period as well where I was thinking, you know, I left the agency world because of this, this, and that, and now I'm doing the same as a consultant. So what was the point, right?
Yeah.
But you just have to keep in mind that you'll get there eventually. It takes time. It takes years. Don't believe people who tell you it's going to take 3 weeks. It doesn't. It takes years, and it keeps improving, but you have to start somewhere. And at least when you are starting your consulting journey, you're starting. Whereas being an employee, you keep being an employee. So it might not improve in the long run because you don't have control over everything. And when it's your own business, for sure, you're going to accept clients that maybe you don't always enjoy working with in the beginning, but you'll definitely get there.
Yeah.
You'll definitely, yeah, get to a place where you can choose who you work with, and how the relationship goes.
Yeah. So I have so many questions, like when people are starting to finding a new client, and definitely they want to go like on LinkedIn and they would like to start posting, and they are posting for a few days, weeks, and even months, but then they are not seeing kind of like any results and they stop. So first challenge is just like not giving up on all these things, because just like make some changes, make a iteration, like what was wrong, like how you can make different things, because for definitely this kind of job, you need to position yourself as a SEO expert. The
Yes.
most common platform is LinkedIn. So how did you position yourself as an expert? Because what I'm seeing is actually there is a lot of misleading posts, like what is actually the offer, what people are offering, like what they can do for other clients, who is their ideal client's profile. So did you have any challenge with this and how you overcome it?
Yeah, so it's a good question. And I think positioning, I don't think you ever get your positioning 100% done. I think it's a work in progress all the time. So I think you keep refining it. And when you start, rule of thumb, you're going too broad every time. But I also think it's a necessary step, because even working in agencies before, I didn't know what type of clients I wanted in terms of in terms of vertical. Let's keep the personal side, the personal aspect on the side, but just in terms of vertical, if you have worked with lead gen, local clients, e-com clients, SaaS clients, even working with them in an agency is not the same as working with them as a consultant. So even if you think you know what businesses you want to target, you might change your mind in the process. So I think in the beginning, it's probably the most common to try to target everyone who needs your service. But I think in the end, you start understanding, okay, so maybe those businesses I work better with because for some reason, this vertical, I know it very well because they're structured a certain type of way. For instance, it's just an example, but local businesses, most of the time you are working with the owner. And let's say if you have a bigger e-commerce or SaaS client, most of the time you're working with a marketing person, whether they're a director, a VP, whatever it is, a CMO, it's a marketing person. It's very different to be working with a business owner and with a marketing person, right? So those things you kind of figure out along the way. And this is how you refine your ICP, your ideal client profile. So you start to understand, okay, maybe I work better with marketing people, or maybe not at all. Maybe I like business owners better. Okay, so maybe I work better with this type of vertical because I have acquired some knowledge and expertise in this vertical. So you start to understand what works for you, and this is how you also refine your positioning and your content to speak to this ICP specifically, as opposed to only talking about SEO in general. So how to do keyword research, or how to build good backlinks, how to do a topic cluster, and so on.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, how you refine your positioning. And like I was saying, it's a work in progress. I don't feel like I get it 100% right all of the time, but then you also need to reassess it on an ongoing basis. So look at your data, your analytics, what worked, what didn't work. And also, again, this is something we tell our clients all the time, but then when it's our own business, of course, we never listen to our own advice, but don't get caught into vanity metrics like likes on a post. Who cares about how many likes you get? And I know this is something that people get discouraged about because they're posting and they don't get any likes. But if you get leads, who cares? You know, most leads, they don't like your posts. They will just reach out to you in the DMs. And
Oh,
so you
yeah.
have a post with like 2 likes. Who cares?
Yeah.
If you get leads and good leads from this post, then that's what you want, right?
That basically the answer that I'm all getting, like from all people who are like consultants on their own, it's the same for me. So basically most of my leads, they have never been like my posts,
Yeah.
comments at all, and they are just I'm getting like DM, and I was like, who are you? Like,
Who are you?
yeah, I haven't seen you at all. So fake profiles or something like that. But no, that's so interesting, and it's the same across all the people who are
Yeah.
independent SEO consultant, because
Yeah.
that's the thing. And you mentioned very interesting thing when we are telling our clients some recommendations. But the reality, what nobody is talking about, is actually even in the full-time agency, or like just being SEO consultant, that we are putting so many recommendations in front of our SEO clients, but they are not listening to us. So I know how to handle like all these recommendations in the full-time agency when clients are not listening to us. But can you tell me like how is like because definitely when you are running your business and you are kind of like that agency behind it, and then your clients are not listening to you, then definitely it's impacting more your business than it will be for like full-time employees in the agencies.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is something you develop and you grow as a skill set as well. So I think you become a better listener and a better salesperson. I don't really like to call myself a salesperson because this is not how I feel, but in the sense that you learn to understand objections. So why are they not implementing the recommendations? So where is it coming from? Do they feel like it's not going to provide results? Don't they have the resources? So where is the objection coming from? And then just understanding, listening, and trying to provide a solution is always the best way to find a solution together, because it's not only, and you're right, it's not just providing technical recommendations, it's also getting buy-in from the client. You need to get them excited about it. And I think, and I know I've mentioned it before, but I think being passionate always makes a difference. And this is something I feel really strongly about, because I've seen a lot of people starting their own freelancing business, but without necessarily having the passion, just because, you know, they saw people do it and then they get discouraged in the long run because it takes a lot of work. And so more work, most likely, than being an employee. So you have to be passionate about it, because at some point it has to feel like something you enjoy and not something you do because you have to do it. Otherwise, I'm not saying you can succeed, but maybe it's not as likely. So passion makes a difference to get back to your question. If you're passionate about what you're doing and telling your client why you recommend this and what the outcome is going to be for them, then you kind of give them this passion too about what you're doing. And this is something that clients feel as well. When it's not just, you know, a row in a Google sheet, and there is really an explanation, and they can see why you recommend it and that you know your stuff and why you're recommending it, then it always makes a difference.
Oh, yeah. And the way how you are explaining to them, especially when you are having non-marketing or non-technical like client, in most of cases, over just like we are putting so many recommendations, like because we are so excited about to implement all these things. And then in that process, we are likely to first overwhelm our clients, and then SEO professionals tend to use a lot of SEO well-known words, but
Jargon.
actually clients, they don't know. And if they don't ask, then they will not understand. If they don't understand, they will not implement all these things, and they will not see the value. So just putting, and as always, I'm saying, like, whenever you are explaining to the clients in the way that you are explaining to your grandma or what you are doing or something like that, will help them to understand, because definitely you don't need to be and pretend that you are smart, that you are successful, and use all these like extra words. Just being as clear as possible, and just like to make sure that they really understand what you are talking about.
Yeah, and I think that's where being a good listener is an advantage too, because not all of your clients will have the same needs. So of course you need to template your work. So I have Sheets templates, I have Looker Studio templates, but I realized that some clients, they never look at my Looker Studio dashboard. And in the beginning I was like, but look, it's so good. I spend hours doing it. Don't you like it? But they're just not geeks like us with dashboards, and they don't care. Maybe they just want, you know, an email with a quick recap, and that's all they want. They don't want to be looking at your dashboard. So I feel like you also have, of course, you have processes and templates in place, but you also have to adjust to each client. I have clients who are super happy about the Looker Studio dashboards. They love them. And they keep referencing them all the time, which is great. But if a client doesn't like something or doesn't use something I'm providing, then I'm trying to change it so that it makes sense for them too, and it doesn't only make sense for me.
That's so true. I was just imagining my clients, like, who likes this and who likes that. Yeah, that's so true. And also one thing that I remember from our just initial call is actually you were mentioning like being alone because you're actually working on your own. There is no team now, there is no like manager. So, and definitely we all have like bad and good days, but sometimes it's more easier when you are with your team members, so you're laughing with something, or so what you are doing when you are actually feeling lonely and having bad days.
Yeah, so in the beginning, in the first year or so, I would say, I never felt lonely. First, because I had just started, and then I didn't truly have the time. to feel lonely because I was so overwhelmed with everything, like finding a structure for my business, finding all the papers. So in the first year or so, I didn't really feel lonely. And then after year one, I was like, okay, I have a business, I have clients, everything is good. I started to feel like something was missing, that I didn't have anyone to exchange with. I didn't have anyone to challenge me, to bring me new ideas. And so I started getting worried as well that I would feel lonely, but also that I wouldn't keep improving as much because I had no one to bounce idea with, which is something you get when you're part of a team. So I started looking online, like any good SEO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Google will find the answer. And then I noticed that there were a lot of communities for consultants. And so this is when I started joining some of them. And then, of course, I overdid it. So I joined, I don't know, maybe 20 communities. And then I didn't have the time to participate in each one. So, of course, it didn't help. And then I decided, okay, you need to focus. So just limit yourself to like 2 or 3 that you like, that you feel a good connection with most of people in. And then I started being more active in those communities. And this is how I was really able to overcome this loneliness feeling. And also where I could get new ideas, because then people are sharing, oh, okay, so I have this campaign, I'm doing this and this. What do you guys think about it? And I'm like, oh, interesting. I don't do it this way. So it brings new ideas as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it can also, I think it feels lonely because you don't have a team, but it can also feel lonely because if you're like me, most of the people you're hanging out with, your partner, your friends, they're employees. So when you start having your own business, your mindset, your interests, everything shifts a bit. And so it can feel lonely because you don't have the same conversations about work. You can tell your friends, oh, I hate my boss, it's me. So I think it can feel lonely for this as well. So just being able to share, even with consultants or even, business owners who are not necessarily doing SEO, it can help as well, because then you can have those conversations that you can't have with your friends. Otherwise, you're just boring them as
Yeah.
well. So not good either. So I feel like those communities, they help me, a lot in the past 2 years.
Yeah, that's so true, because definitely your challenges have been so different from all
Yeah,
other like people who are actually full-time employees, and they are all always talking about like these things, but then your challenge is totally like different. So that can
yeah,
be it. I can say, yeah, I think the word is lonely, because
yeah,
you don't have anyone to share your challenge and actually to get constructive feedback. Then just it's not just complaining, just like
yeah,
let's discuss and have some constructive feedback how you can improve all these
yeah.
things.
Yeah, and it can bring a lot of good projects as well. So for instance, I met some people in those communities who are consultants as well. And sometimes either myself or them, they get leads that are just too big to handle
Mm-hmm.
on our own. So we can work together on a project, which then feels like you really have a colleague, right? And you're
Yeah.
part of the same team. Um, so I think, communities help a lot. That's definitely, for me, it's a plus. It took me more than 1 year to join those communities, and then 1 year and a half to get the full benefit from them, because I didn't spread myself too thin between too many communities. But once I got there, I think I wouldn't get back. it doesn't feel as lonely anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely the question that will lead after you mentioned is actually like, do you think was it worth all this that you transition from full time? Do you regret? How do you see your journey?
I don't regret it, and hopefully I will never regret it. I don't think I will, because even if at some point I don't enjoy it anymore, and this is something actually that my partner helped a lot with, because when I was not sure if I was ready to just take that leap of faith, he told me, okay, so what's the worst that could happen? It doesn't work, and then you get back looking for a job. Is
Yeah.
that so bad? And I was like, oh no, okay. Doesn't sound bad. Doesn't sound any different from, what I've been doing all these years,
Yeah, not at all, because
looking for a
you,
new job.
yeah,
So
and you gain so many different perspectives during this journey.
yeah,
So even you are coming back to your full-time job, you will see like all these business decisions, all these clients in different ways. So you actually can like that, like in that moment. So
yeah.
uh,
So I don't think I will regret it.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm very happy this way. But like I was saying, I'm not saying it's better than being an employee at an agency. I'm definitely not saying that. It's really a matter of personality and what you want. There are downsides, pros and cons to everything in life. So it's just a matter of finding what downsides you're most comfortable with. So for me, the downsides of being a consultant um, are better than, or less bad maybe
Mm-hmm.
than the downsides from being an agency employee. And that's really just speaking for me. It might be different for someone else, and that's totally fine too.
Yeah, and there is no right and wrong. It's just about like what suits
Absolutely.
you. So just optimize your position in the way that you really like it, because you will spend a lot of time there. So make sure
Yeah.
that you like it.
Yeah. And I think also what you enjoy the most, but what makes you a better person, generally speaking, just in life, is what you should go with. So if being a consultant makes you very stressed and you're shutting down and you're constantly anxious, and it's normal to feel anxious from time to time, but if it's eating up your life and making you not as happy and a different person than you used to be, then definitely probably consider switching back.
Yeah.
But for me, it was the opposite. I feel like even in my personal life, I'm better now.
Yeah. I just like you blow my mind when you said like do it what makes you better. So I think I will put some highlights, because I think that's the perfect ending for this SEO happy hour. So I see some of the guests, but feel free to ask any questions if you might. If not, that's totally fine. Sonia, thank you so much for this conversation. I think it's there is a lot of value, and I keep saying like there is a lot of value after like every SEO happy hour, but actually I think like all these advices that you shared are actually very practical, so you can like go there and check like if you are really just like for full time or you are for SEO consultant, and like if you are in the middle, like what is your next step and like what you need to move forward. So thank you so much for this call, and definitely happy holidays and New Year's. And maybe we will talk again in the next year about scaling a business or whenever or whatever topic you are passionate about. But thank you so much for this.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and happy holidays to you and to everyone.
Yeah, thanks all.